Hello and welcome to UK Versus. Today I am joined by League of Legends expert and article writer beyond compare, Camila Doingues, and we're going to be talking League of Legends characters, the lore behind them, and I'm going to try and figure out how that plays into the Riftbound characters we haven't quite seen yet, as well as just have a bit of fun and talk about League of Legends and expand my knowledge about this amazing IP that UVS are now working with, as well as a little bit more about the history of the game and Riot as a company themselves. How are you doing, Camilla?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No
How are you?
worries. I'm good. So I do believe I was informed by our mutual friend Guile that you did used to work for the company?
No, I don't work for the company. I wish. That is my goal, by the
Oh.
way. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Um, no, I met some some Riot Forge folks at PAX East in 2023 while covering PAX East for a website I was freelancing at. And I maintained a nice friendship with the initial PR rep. And once Riot Forge kind of dismantled, I just kind of held on to friends there and just continued on just covering everything. So
Oh yeah, I just quickly look back from messages. You work with the company, not for the company.
yes, I have worked with them.
You work
Like
with
I
Riot.
cover things for Riot. Yeah, but I don't work for them now. But no, Riot's cool.
That was going to be my next question. What was Riot like to work with, and are UVS in for a fun partnership?
Oh, yeah, no, UVS is in for a really fun partnership. I've had nothing but wonderful experiences with Riot in in the 2 years that I've dealt with Riot. Um, I've had nothing but like polite and friendly and just, responsive people to work with there, and it's been nice.
That's great. So, talk to me a little bit about League of Legends in itself. All I really know is Arcane, but from my understanding, Arcane is kind of like just a small dot on the Runeterra map.
Yes, it is the Runeterra map. There are various regions like Noxus and Bilgewater and fun little areas where our champions come from, and they have their own little backstories. It's very comparable to our content. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And in League, basically, you pit 5 champions versus 5 champions and a couple different game types, and just have at it.
So, what is the overall goal in a match of League of Legends?
To destroy the opponent's nexus.
Oh, so a little bit different to so it's a little bit different to Riftbound, where you're trying to control battlefields for points. It's more you're trying to just take out your opponent's next.
It depends on who you ask. The ultimate goal to win the match, you must destroy the opponent's nexus. So that is the ultimate goal. But when it comes to what you personally want as a goal from the game, is completely different. I know friends who try to go for their KDA spread, who try to meticulously make it to where their kills and assists go beyond their deaths and try to like master different champions, master different lanes. And there are some of us who don't like to play PvP. We like ARAM more. So we go on ARAM and we just like to learn how to play new champions. It's a perfect way to learn how to play new champions. Because in ARAM you don't get to pick. Well, to a degree. They hand you a handful and you pick out like from that. But
Oh.
it really depends on who you ask.
So there's a little bit of something for everyone, for your try-hard competitive players to your more casual people that just want to have fun and experience the lore and the character.
Yes, very much so.
That makes a lot of sense. So we have had a first look at the new Riftbound cards, and they look absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a couple of looks at what the characters we haven't quite seen yet are going to be, but we don't have any idea what they do. So what I was hoping you'd do is talk me through the characters that we do know the abilities of, talk a little bit about their personalities, their lore, and then when we get to the characters we don't know what they do yet, I can use what their personalities and lore are from your perspective to try and figure out how that will translate over to the Riftbound kind of gameplay style.
Sure, let's do it.
So, in terms of characters that we have seen that have got their abilities that seem to be the same in the Riftbound art update, we have Victor, Yasuno, and Jinx. Is there any particular one you'd want to start with?
Oh well, we can always. I mean, we can always start with Jinx.
You don't want to save best till last.
We can't say best to last. In that case, if we're gonna go best to last, let's go with Yasuo first.
Oh,
How many people did I just piss off?
you're you're saving the one you called, and I quote, "Daddy" until the middle.
Yes, he is. He is the middle of the sandwich.
He's the middle of the Jinx Yasuno sandwich. Yeah.
Oh man, this is bad. I apologize.
I'm sure it's already on the internet somewhere.
Oh yeah, rule what 30? What is it? Rule 34. Whatever.
Rule 34, if it exists yet. Talk me through Yasuno. From what I can gather from like the Riftbound card, the art, the way that he kind of plays, it's a kind of very Japanese ninjutsu shinobi kind of feel to the character, very dignified and kind of just very small, intricate movements that do a lot of damage.
Yes. So he is. His role is he's an assassin. He is an assassin. He's a very. He can be a little hard to play. I've never been good at playing Yasuo. I just cannot. He is not. I'm not a. I'm not an up close person. I like ranged a little more. But like as a person, I guess as a champion. Long story short, he ended up like killing his brother in self defense.
Oh.
And he has yet to. Who, by the way, his brother is also a champion called Yone. He does not forgive himself for killing his brother, and so kind of looking for that kind of redemption. So that's kind of his attitude towards everything is like the suffer. I must go through the suffering to get to my goal. You know, kind of redemption arc.
That's a pretty decent character. In the Riftbound game, he has a couple of cool abilities. He can kind of cheat his movements. So he can move from one. He can move units without, even though they're exhausted. So he's kind of like skirting the rules, having that kind of swift foot movement. And his actual champion ability is that when he enters a battlefield, he just gets to straight up deal 6 damage.
Is that less breath?
He doesn't have an ultimate kind of attack. It's just he has, when he moves to a battlefield, he deals 6 damage to an enemy unit. It's a very powerful ability, but
yeah, it is. Yeah, that is. So, yeah, no, he can be a little squishy. There are ways to prevent him from getting squishy in the game, but he is that slice, that lethal. Him and Akali are that assassin type.
Is he in kind of honorable assassin, where he kind of wants to do the 1v1, or is he more from the shadows, you'll never see him coming kind of assassin?
I feel he's more the honorable type in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's move on to the characters you do know a little bit more about. Victor. So I know Victor from Arcane, the Hex Jesus, as he is lovely known.
I have never heard that. Hex Jesus, Daddy. Like, what else? He is perfect. He is it. Ladies and gentlemen, look no further. Like, he is it.
But yeah, in Arcane, he's kind of this hive mind, autonomous kind of sentient, almost godlike figure who has this army of almost bots that kind of do the work for him, or not taken away from his actual power. And in Riftbound, we see that kind of the same thing. He has the abilities to create these units out of nothing, and then his champion ability is that when another non-recruit unit dies, he gets to then have another recruit come into his base.
Love that. Oh, that is neat. That's so cool. And that makes sense too, but just like you, I never paid attention to Victor before Arcane. Never paid attention to Victor before Arcane, so I don't know what he used to be before he became a Hex Jesus. Amen, but he did. And he's a mage. He can be a little tricky. I love playing Victor because I love his ult. His ult gets stronger if a champion dies because of it, and it lasts longer. It's kind of like a circle of death that follows around champions that he can control. This is, of course, at least in Wild Rift. There are differences in champion and champion abilities from in between Wild Rift and League of Legends.
Yeah, that's cool.
I played League of Legends for 8 years. But then I took a little bit of a break because 8 years of League needs a break. And then my computer decided to act up as we were just talking about before this. So for the last couple of years, I have been playing Wild Rift only, and so a lot of my like most recent exposure and stuff in ability talk comes from the Wild Rift side of League. If that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Especially playing 8 years of a competitive game, and even a 2 year break is a lot, and especially if your PC's struggling, you don't want to go into competitive lobbies and, to put it bluntly, burden the team with possible computer issues.
Yeah, no, and it was so sad because I tried. We thought we fixed it. I tried to boot up the game, and it was I'm pretty sure if I log back in, I have a warning because I could not even like get into the actual game. It was so sad. But one day, my iPad's perfect for Wild Rift, and it does what it needs to do for me. But yeah, there's a key difference there. Just so if anybody else is like, she's not right, there's just differences.
No,
I'm a,
I
I'm
did.
also a human, by the way.
I am 3 kobolds in a trench coat.
Yeah. Oh, I knew it. I just knew it. I knew it.
So I did speak on the Riftbound Discord about possibly trying the game, and every single person just don't. Unless you know 4 other people to play with, it's not worth it.
Oh yeah, no, it can be a little rough. I am one of those lucky people who has a team. We are 5. We all have specific roles, and we do it when we play together. Otherwise, we just go into ARAM and just have fun. But um, if it can be a little rough with matchmaking, especially when you just start out with ranked. It can be a little bit of a bummer, a little bit of a hit or miss, a little bit of a
Yeah,
a toxic.
that's kind of the same for a lot of competitive games. So
Yeah.
back to Victor. I mean, for people who haven't seen Arcane, what's Victor's personality like? What's he like as a character in himself?
He is, as we see him in Arcane, he has suffered. He's had a really rough life. His body has been broken since he can remember. Like he has been through it all, and now he's just he found this revelation in the hex core, and he wants to bring it to the world to end everybody else's suffering. Like he wants to help. It's a genuine intention, but you know what do they say, the road to heaven is paved with good intentions or something like that.
Yeah.
It turns on its head and we see what happens. But I feel like he's kind of like that good person who wants to help but then loses himself in the process and has like a savior complex towards the end.
That
And
makes a lot of
just,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
kind
guess
of.
it just kind of depends.
That kind of does play into his Riftbound card feelings of having you get the Legion effects from playing other cards before these to bring in more recruits. He kind of wants to build up this army of faceless recruits and then
Hmm.
just kind of hold particular battlefields or kind of overwhelm the opposition with numbers. And seeing as he's got all these people he's cured, he's got all these people that are willing to fight and die for him, it kind of makes sense that he's having this line of recruits. And I know from Arcane, like he does have the ability to not only cure people but then also just kind of fully take over and become them as part of a hive mind.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, he is, like you said, a hive mind.
That kind of plays into his champion ability of when another unit dies, he gets to kind of just take over their body and go, "You are now a recruit. You now work under me."
Welcome to the glorious revolution. Yes, take me, I'll go. Yeah. Oh no, I have interesting taste in League men. That can be a topic for another time, though.
I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have got very interested in League Men. I mean, how many people is it that simp after? Is it Abissa?
Ambessa, you
Ambessa.
mean Riot Mommy? Riot
Yeah.
Mommy. That is her name, Riot Mommy. She is a goddess.
What is it that?
I just read her book.
What is it that
She's
Danny
amazing.
Motta said when he was reacting to Arcane? It's like, is this an inappropriate time for me to first after muscle bound mummies? No, that's a trick question. It's never been a bad time for me to first after muscle bound mummies.
Oh no, she is amazing. And
She
like I said,
is.
I read her book. I got her origin story, like how she got to where she was, and it is such a good read. It's such a cool
Oh.
backstory. Like a lot of cool champions in it, like Kindred's in it. We got like, of course, immediately forget everyone who's in it as soon as I start mentioning them. But there's quite a few cool characters in that book.
So let's
Anyway,
move on to fan favorite and possibly poster child for Arcane, League of Legends, maybe even Riftbound. Uh, Powder, aka Jinx, the
yes,
chaotic entity within Hex, an absolute genius from my understanding with how they see
is
the world and create and express not only artistically but through technology their chaotic nature.
just a very disturbed individual who has been through hell and back at least 50 times.
Yeah, I mean, she looks pretty good for the amount of trauma she's carrying, and
I know. Oh, I mean, just because it looks good doesn't mean it isn't heavy.
yeah, I
Isn't
mean,
that what they say?
for people who are not Arcane or League of Legends aware, she lost her birth parents at a very early
Wow.
age, then lost her adoptive father at a couple of years later, then lost her other adopted father about 5 years on from that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then
it was.
lost.
It's rough.
And going from Arcane, and spoilers for season 2 of Arcane, lost her surrogate sister a couple of years after that.
Yeah. No, she has she is like she's a cycle. Jinx is literally a cycle. She says she's like a bad luck charm, but I don't see her like that. Like you said, she's a genius. She is good with technology. She is a symbol of for people, especially in Arcane, like in the second season. She's a symbol for Zon. And she is all of this, but she's also nuts and unpredictable, and she just gets into her own head and can't get out. And that place, like, she murdered an entire thing of fireflies in the first season just because she started going nuts there for a second and held the trigger down and murdered an entire room. Like, that's Jinx.
it, Jinx comes across to me as one of those characters that's in charge of their own destiny. If
Yeah.
she wanted to lead a revolution, she would have the ability to lead a revolution. If she wanted to go grow turnips on a farm in the middle of nowhere, she would find a way to go. She essentially
I
walks
go
her own.
help her.
Yeah, she walks her own path, and people have to live in the wake of what she's doing. I mean, like you're saying, she was a symbol of the revolution without ever meaning to be, just because she wanted to express her discomfort with the current system. She has a good heart. We've seen with the surrogate sister the way that she interacts with people, the way that she just wants to be seen and be loved throughout Arcane. That she has got that kind of soft core. Powder's kind of still in there aspect, but as you're saying, it's under a lot of weight through the trauma she's been through.
Yeah, no, and you can see she crumbles like with each and every little inconvenience that happens in Arcane. She just crumbles more and more and more until we get to the point where Echo is saving her. She's just a very complex, very layered. Um, she means so well, and like all the little lines that she says in League of Legends jump at me now. She says like I have all the right intentions, or like I'm crazy, and all these things, and it's just sad. She is crazy, but that's also can be a good thing. Her spells and her skills
Hmm.
with the rocket launcher, with the guns and everything, like it all plays super well because she can change guns like in the middle of the game, and
Oh.
the rocket is freaking huge. And it's awesome.
Yeah, we've got Super Mega Death Nuke in League of Legends Riftbound. It's a very powerful attack. It does 5 damage just on face, and if you score a point through conquering a battlefield, so if you just take over a battlefield, you can discard a card from your hand and pick up the nuke again. So you're kind of switching out those weapons, the weapons you could have possibly have in your hand, to go pick up another nuke and possibly play it again.
That's sweet.
Uh, Jinx's legend ability is one that basically says if you've got one card in your hand at the start of your turn, you get to draw two cards instead of one. So I'm starting to see that it's kind of like part of her personality because there's an ability that she kind of builds around called Accelerate, where you have to use a lot, you have to pay additional resources and then also recycle your runes to have your units coming ready. She likes to discard a lot of cards. She's kind of it's kind of strategic recklessness. You have to make sure you're discarding the right cards, blowing up the right runes to find the right path to victory, but you're sacrificing your defense, you're sacrificing your resources to create it. So it's kind of this different way to play, which is very aggressive, very but also very strategic, and that from what you're saying that kind of sums up Jinx. It's this unpredictably aggressive character that has this actual method to her madness underlining everything that's going on.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm excited to see how playing her is going to go with Riftbound. I'm excited about the big rocket card and like I just want to see how they've translated her into this mechanic because she can be pretty hard to translate.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things that when you are translating fan favorite cards, the actual like flagship characters of an IP, it's one that I imagine League of Legends will have taken a lot of time and care putting in. In universes, it happens a lot with things like Izuku Midoriya for MHA. When we got his Dark Deku kind of vigilante arc, you could tell the amount of care and time that went into making that character. Similar with Eren Yeager or Levi Ackerman for Attack on Titan. It's a lot of care goes in by these companies to make sure that their flagship characters, the characters that the people are going to be picking up the game for because they love from all these different IPs, it feels good to play and feels fun to play.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look no further than Arcane itself. It is the most expensive animated show to date. It shows how much all the care and the love it went to producing this. It's beautiful, it's solid, it's high quality stuff. It's going to be a pain in the ass to follow up, and I'm so sorry for the next Riot show that has to do that. But that that's exactly that. The adaptation is something Riot can do very well. I'm excited to see how this is going to go.
Oh yeah, I know there's a lot of more shows and cinematics coming, and I've one of the artists that worked on the Critical Role set for Universes has done some of the cinematics for League of Legends, so it's great to see a little bit of crossover there, and I'm hoping that Lachar A is watching this and is glad I'm calling him out again, and B gets to continue to work with both companies.
Oh, neat! That is so cool.
So now I think I've got a little bit of a handle as to how Riot are translating these characters. It's not the most literal translation, but it's kind of grasping the core of the character and bringing it over into the gameplay. Let's talk about one of the characters that we've seen the art for, but we haven't seen any of the abilities for, which is Lee Sin. What can you tell
Oh,
me?
yes, Lisa.
What can you tell me about Lee Sin?
Is not one of he is not my forte. I will tell you that right there and there. He is not part of my large obsession catalog when it comes to these champions. No offense to Lee Sin. He's great. He's just not my character type, so I don't particularly care. I'm just kidding. Um no, I'm kidding. I so to be fair, I only get attached to characters that I know I won't cry because I suck with them. To be fair. I don't break my own heart like this. But Lee Sin, he's an assassin, like, just like Yasuo, but he's
Ah.
is more he does, oh my gosh, martial arts. There we go. He is more grounded in martial arts than Yasuo is with his katana. But Lee Sin, he's just a fighter. He is blind. He's a warrior monk who he's protecting his homeland. he wants to protect his homeland against like enemies and things, and that's like his what's it called? Oh, mode of operation. There we go. I can't talk. So he's a blind warrior monk who wants to like protect the balance of life and the balance of his homeland and just the balance.
That makes a lot of sense, considering going off the packaging of his champion deck box, it looks like he's going to be a calm and order coded kind of character. So having that maintaining of balance, having that kind of defensive, more S strategy whilst maintaining balance makes sense for those kind of runes. So I can imagine him being a kind of almost defensive character. So kind of like he wants to get hold of a battlefield and then hold on to that battlefield rather than constantly going into fights. Just more like going, this is my battlefield. I'm the one holding on to it, and if you come at me, I'll push you back, but I'm not going to be overly aggressive, kind of thing. It's that yin and yang aspect.
Right, and he also like he seems very like he's a monk, so people can misjudge him, like underestimate him for being a monk. So he's kind of got that little element of surprise in there as well.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of more reactionary spells, a lot more rather than just going all out aggression kind of aspect. It's more controlled bursts and, like I said, going for underestimating of the blind monk aspect. You wouldn't
Right.
expect this response defense kind of catching them off guard because they've underestimated what he's doing.
Exactly. It's the don't judge a book by its cover just because you have a blind monk. Sure, he's built, but like he's still a blind monk. Like don't underestimate that guy.
That makes a lot of sense. I can imagine as a champion or as a legend, that balance aspect might come into it a little bit more. It might be something to do with balancing out runes between yourself and your opponent. It might be something to do with units, kind of keeping that even keel kind of reflection aspect going. Oh, if your opponent has more units than you, you get to do this. Or if your opponent has more runes than you get to do this. Or if your opponent has more cards in the hand, you get to do this because the scales are unbalanced.
Yeah. No, that is a good point of keeping things balanced. In a way, he kind of reminds me of Kindred a little because Kindred kind of represents death. You have the lamb and the wolf. They're two characters. They're like just intertwined. Um, well, death split itself, and there they are. But still, it kind of reminds me of that duality that the person can have. You can be a storm while still being calm. You can, be meditative, but still do quite a lot of damage. It's
Yeah,
the duality.
it's what kind of that calm before the storm thing. You see the monk
Yeah,
meditating by himself, and it's case of, oh, I'm gonna go mess with them. It's like, don't mess with them. Why? It's like, because that's the calm before the storm.
exactly. You just poked the dragon, literally, because he does essence of the dragon spirit.
Ooh, that might be one of his signature attack cards or spell cards that we can
Yeah,
see.
Dragon's Rage is his ult.
Ooh, that's definitely going to be in there. Dragon's Rage. That'll be definitely a order calm combination card, which sounds really cool because having a Dragon Rage with a calm rune on it is so contradictory that it kind of loops back to that balance.
Yeah, it's balance. He is about the causing damage, and I guess I'm not sure if he has any healing. Like I said, I've never really played Lee Sin. I just know him from 10 plus years of League, but that's it.
Looking at the
I can't dive into his stuff.
That makes no sense. You can't be an expert on every single character, but looking at his card
Oh.
art, he's kind of sat with the crossed legs. He's got his arm up in one. He's got the other hand over. It's kind of that meditative state.
Hmm.
But looking at the pose, looking at the way he is, although it's kind of that meditative state pose, he's giving off the aura of still, I'm ready to fight if you're ready to go. It's a lot more. It's a bit contradictory to see with the other characters that are all in kind of like this battle ready pose, but Lee Sin is still kind of exuding the aura. It's kind of like when you see in animes or old fighting movies where you had like the guy that was just walking normally that looked like he was full of holes in his defense, and they go to attack him and just like wipe them all out and carry on walking.
Love it. I love that.
So that's it for the characters that we're going to see with the champion decks. Have you managed to have a look at what the proving grounds are going to be?
I have not, no.
So the proving grounds is something that I actually really love that Riot are doing, and this is kind of an introductory product for people who are new to TCGs, new to the game, and a great way to learn with friends. MSRP is $30. You get 4 decks in there with 4 paper playmats and 4 acrylic characters that have a happy side and a grumpy side that you can rotate between while you're playing the game. And the characters that we get in there are Lux, Annie, Master Yi, and Garen. And I know I've got one person I know who's very happy that Garen's made it onto the list. But the idea is that you can play it 1v1, you can play it 2v2, or you can play a 4-person brawl and just get into this game immediately with friends and have it as more of an introductory learn-to-play product.
That's awesome. That's cool. It comes with all that. That's all. That's well worth it. It is insane, actually.
For $30, I was like, the acrylic, the tiny little acrylic standees alone, you could sell all 4 of those for 30. I don't know much about all these characters apart from Garen is one that people were saying that they really wanted to see. Have you got any particular preference in who you'd like to talk about first?
I'll talk about Annie. Annie is the one that I actually know the most about in that list.
I was going to say beside Jinx and Victor.
In that list. Just knowing her lore from early League cinematics. I don't know. It was one of the early ones that they put out a few years ago. It's totally worth it if you want to give it a watch. It's very sad.
I will add it to my list of things to do. I've still got 8 episodes of Critical Role Campaign 2 I need to get through.
Oof, yes. Those are long too. Bless you.
Yeah, I started with Campaign 1, Episode 1 at the end of October, and I'm on the last 10 episodes of Campaign 2.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
That's crazy. But no, so Annie, there's some tragedy, I'm assuming, had lost her mother, so, father met another woman, they got together, she had another child too, and the two play together. But there's certain moments where either the girl starts to poke fun at Annie for having a teddy bear, or she starts to pull on the teddy bear or anything like that, which we players know the teddy bear is Tibbers, her alt. Do you know anything about Annie?
I know absolutely nothing about these 4 characters.
Oh, okay. Annie is a mage. She's about 6.
Oh.
She's 5, 6, around that area. And she's a fire mage. Her bear, Tibbers, her ult is she throws Tibbers out. He grows into a gigantic freaking bear and just wreaks havoc. So, yeah. So, and anytime that Annie was in trouble or anytime she'd be bullied or whatnot, Tibbers would come to life and destroy things. So, through a series of very sad events, Tibbers and Annie end up being the cause of death for the little girl, and then her own father, and then the father's wife. And she just sets everything on fire on her path.
So it kind of sounds like a very... a person who doesn't know how to control their powers. She was in a heightened state of emotion. She accessed powers beyond her control, and she's just not able... she's still kind of trying to rein them in.
So I have 2 8-year-old girls. Imagining one of them, or both actually, even though they're very different, it'd be just as terrifying. Imagining them with the kind of power Annie has at that age with their temper tantrums, that is terrifying. that is the kind of character we're dealing with. A child with insane fire magic who has temper issues, who lets her. She is very temper controlled. She's not angry. She's not crazy like Jinx.
No.
But the gist of her is she's very emotionally attached to Tibbers, and Tibbers kind of protects her from the world.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's kind of that attachment thing, and her powers are tied to emotions. So if she has heightened emotions, her powers go out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
that's how I see her as a person. It doesn't work like that in the game.
No.
But that's how I see her as like a character.
I'm trying to think, because there's a few ways you could adapt this into a card game. In terms of like your champion, I can imagine having this kind of exhaust ability that lets you go and get a Mr. Tibbers unit from either your discard or your deck, and make sure that basically Annie always has access to Mr. Tibbers. Because from the way I'm kind of understanding it is, if you had Annie down as the legend and your champion, and not a Mr. Tibbers in your hand, Annie would be very distraught. So it's kind of like having this access to go get this one particular unit that Annie likes would be very thematic.
Yeah, it could be that way. Alternatively, it could be the like Annie is into it. She wants to throw her fireballs. She wants to do her fire spray that she does. But then when things get a little too heated and the danger starts to grow, he breaks out and like it's something that's triggered. It's like a trigger card or something like that.
That could work.
I don't know how that could work.
The only other way I'm thinking about is because in Riftbound you've got your legend and then you've got your champion, which have to have the same kind of like color scheme. If we have Annie as our legend, but then Mr. Tibbers as our champion, so Annie never actually really enters the fight. Mr. Tibbers enters the fight for Annie as her champion.
I don't think that would work because even like in League, if Annie dies, Tibber dies.
Makes sense.
So Annie and Tibbers are one. So I don't think that if she didn't enter, he wouldn't either. I don't.
Well, no. So the legend is your character. It's you. So when your opponent gets to 8 points,
please. Yes. Sorry.
So when your opponent gets to 8 points and Annie loses, Mr. Tibbers loses. But if Mr. Tibbers is our champion, that means Annie is our legend who doesn't really interact with the battlefield. She's kind of like the person orchestrating the battle. She never.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I brain farted there for a second. Apologies.
Oh, good. It's like I could see it kind of going that both ways. Like having this search ability or this recursion ability, similar to the text of the Super Mega Nuke, which lets you pick it up when you've scored a point through conquering. Having this ability to just get Mr. Tibbers and go, I've always got access to my bear to kind of do it, and then having Mr. Tibbers having some kind of explosive ability on edge when he goes into a showdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can see that. That'd be cool.
That makes no sense. I imagine. See, it's hard to say because Jinx is already our Fury Chaos character. I guess Annie isn't really chaotic. I imagine the Fury side of it, linking to the emotions, kind of makes sense. So I imagine she's got the red runes. But the other runes is what's catching me off guard. We've got the 6 runes. We've got probably not physical, probably not order. Mental. Yeah, she could be a mental Fury.
Oh.
For the magic, that kind of makes sense. Mental has a lot of mage, has a lot of spell components to it. So a blue-red character, Mental Fury, could be very good, Annie. That makes a lot of sense. So there was the other character we did speak to briefly about before we started, which is Lux, who has their own kind of like aspects of the game, of mini games as well.
Oh no! So there was when Riot Forge was still a thing. They made a game called Mage Seeker, and it was in Demacia with you were playing as Silas, and you interacted a lot with Garen and Lux, and the comic book for Lux came with it as well, and that's got her origin story on there. It's pretty neat. I don't know much about Lux and Garen. I do know that they're siblings, and that they're from Demacia. But
apart from
Lux is my favorite character to hate on in League because I, I'm getting angry just imagining it. Like you're doing nothing, and then out of nowhere you can't move, and then you see a very annoying thing of light, and you just hear "ha," and you're like, okay, I'm dead. Like I can't do anything else. Like that, she's just very frustrating. She's got a lot of like crowd control. So crowd control, she heals her squad mates. She um got that lovely burst that I love so much when it's on my team. Um but I'm imagining she's a very honorable person, if anything, from like the what I got from the Mage Seeker video game with her interactions between her and Silas when he's kept prisoner in Demacia for a while. Um is she's loyal to the Masia and what she stands for. Um, but she's got a good heart.
Oh, so crowd control, I can imagine she's going to have some kind of AoE damage spells, something to kind of clear battlefields of lots of small units that are in there. And from the description of the ult, it could be one of those things of either restricting or forcing enemy units to either be able to not move or kind of be stuck where they are and not be able to gain any more power or anything.
The ult in itself does not hold anybody in place. There is an ability that launches like a couple discs and they kind of envelop you and hold you in place. But her ult is just that obnoxious shine of light that you just can't escape. Like even if you try to run away, sometimes you just can't escape.
So I can imagine she's going to have some kind of board wipe effect that's going to just deal damage to all kind of either all units or all enemy units and kind of reset the battlefield through this giant blinding light.
Yeah, it's Final Spark. It's just a gigantic beam of light, and it goes from one way from wherever she is originating it all the way to the other end of the map. It goes across the entire map.
Oh damn!
And it's a straight line. It's a straight line.
And does it just affect enemies or does it affect her team as well?
Just enemies. There's no friendly fire in League of Legends. Thank goodness. Oh my god, my friends would hate me.
Well, luckily there is friendly fire in Riftbound. We have got some spells that deal damage to all units, so I can imagine that is what we're going to be seeing with the Spark. Is just this beam of light that's deciding to just wipe a battlefield of all units on there, and then just having her stroll into it with all the cindering corpses.
I would cry. I would continue to ban Lux every opportunity I get because I absolutely hate her. She's a good character, that's why I hate her. A good champion, that's why I hate her.
Well, I feel bad for whoever in your Proving Ground games ends up playing Lux in each.
Well, as long if I get Jinx, I'll be good.
Jinx isn't part of the Proving Grounds.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, I'll take Annie. I'll take
Annie. Just taking out. You can have Mr. Tibbles just eat the giant beam of light.
Yes. Have you seen Tibbers? She's got a really creepy laugh too. When the game starts out, they all make some sort of sound to be like, "We're here. The game's starting." So and
kind of like an intro line.
Yeah, hers is a creepy laugh.
Alright, 2 more to go. And seeing as we've got some interactions between them, talk to me about Garen.
Garen is Lux's brother. He likes to spin around with his sword a lot. Am I wrong?
I don't know, but
I'm not wrong. I am not wrong.
The duality of siblings of having someone who has a massive AoE beam of light that wipes everyone out, and then you've got Garen with, I have a sword.
Well, no, he doesn't just have a sword. He also has Demacian Justice. Like his ult, it brings down like a massive sword down on one enemy, but it executes them. It attempts to execute them in one shot. But he's got Judgment is what I was talking about. He just starts spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning.
I'm just getting. Do you know Yu Yu Hakusho?
Like I know it. I don't know. I know of it. Don't know it.
It's just giving me very Yusuke Kurabara vibes. Where you got Yusuke being the spirit detective shooting giant energy beams at people, taking them out, and then you have Kurabara who just has an energy sword and like, I'm gonna hit him with my sword.
I'm gonna go get him.
Yeah,
Nah,
it's like,
he's pretty strong. He gets bigger. He's got some passives and abilities that like
uh,
get him tanky, and he gets
yeah.
very annoying.
That makes no sense. And like, I just had a little bit of a laugh because when you said he gets bigger, Kurabara literally has an attack that's called Sword Get Longer.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I'm getting very Yusuke Kurabara vibes from these twins, from these siblings.
Oh God. Yeah, no, but they're cool. I believe they get along. They get along better than Draven and Darius do, I suppose.
So I imagine this is going to be a bit more of a close quarters kind of character, very physical character going off the runes. So we're going to be looking at the orange runes, maybe order as well. They seem to be kind of along that, possibly a fury physical, given like they're going with for the spin kind of reckless kind of attacks. But I imagine they're going to be a bit more close quarter than looks. They're going to be wanting to be in the thick of the battlefield with the units. It's going to be not a very spell or action heavy deck. It's going to be a very unit heavy deck with just possibly some gear coming in as well to help guide him. So if he maybe got one of his swords as his gear to help him like bolster his attacks.
Yeah.
He's got my creative juices working the more I learn about them.
I guess he's all right. He just likes to spin. I don't know how he doesn't get dizzy.
In terms of the League of Legends, yeah, I can't. But just thinking of like the Riftbound aspect of it, this is the kind of mid-ranged aggressive character that seems to be very good, but it's also one that Riot can translate to be perfect for the battlegrounds because it's going to be a very simple character. They can translate the abilities of quite well to have that aggressive abilities and have that kind of more units on the ground approach, whereas Annie and Lux have had this more ranged kind of aspect to them of like, oh, we don't really want to get involved in the fight. We want to be hitting you from further away.
Yeah.
And I imagine, seeing as we've had two ranged characters that kind of want to avoid the fight and have the ranged fighting done for them, that Master Yi is going to be another one of those ones that wants to get up in the thick of the fight themselves.
Master Yi is one that I actively avoid so I don't disappoint fellow teammates because they'll see it like, yes, we have a Master Yi that will be fine. It's like, no, I'm not it. I'm excited to see, and I hope they'll like somehow adapt his. He is very much an assassin. He's very slicey, very out of nowhere. Like, now you see me, now you don't. He also has a healing ability where he meditates on, like, floats up with a sword and meditates for a few seconds and heals, but he can't move or it stops. But his ult, literally, he just slices and goes from one to the other. Like, he disappears and slices.
Ooh.
That's the only way I can explain it.
No, that
it disappears. It like he moves. His speed obviously goes beyond the charts, and his attack speed and like move speed, and he's immune to like being slowed down. Like while he's active and moving like that, any champion kills extend it. Like they make it last longer. So you can see how he can be very freaking annoying during the game, especially if you're squishy. Like if I play Seraphine, she is my main. I am a Seraphine main. She's very much, she's like a Sona 2.0. She's a healer who can literally, I am the type of Seraphine player that I can take her and I can put her anywhere on that PvP map and I can play her pretty well. I'm just good with her. So playing with her, squishy as heck, biggest nightmare. So it's very annoying. I want to see how they're gonna adapt that into to that.
So what I'm feeling with Master Yi is similar to kind of Yasuno vibes. He's going to want units that can move and get rewarded for moving between battlefields, moving back to the base, and his ult will be this kind of high cost spell that kind of just lets him bounce between the battlefields and just into kind of got just blitz through all the battlefield grounds, clearing the way for his kind of victory.
That's that'd be cool. That's infuriating and awesome at the same time, depending on where you, if you're playing E or not. But
I kind of like it, and I kind of like having this aspect of because he's got the healing effect. You don't really have healing in Riftbound, but if he had some kind of if you move back to base effect, so like if you move from a battlefield back to base, trigger X ability because you're bringing your units back to heal. You're bringing your units out of the fight, and they're not able to move until your next turn. That kind of fits into that meditative sword ability where he can't move and he's healing. So getting some kind of additional boon from bringing your units back would be very cool.
yeah, no, that would be really cool. That'd be fun to see.
Well, I think we've kind of touched on all the characters we currently have. Hopefully, once your computer side out, we can get some Riftbound games in, we can get some Universes games in, and we can kind of vibe and see how the game plays compared to the League of Legends actual game.
For sure, yeah, I'm gonna be working on that, and I've mentioned I have a Steam Deck. I'm sure there's gonna be a way for me to be able to use the Steam Deck to play tabletop because on it itself is not very good.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, I can always try and print out the cards and build a Jinx or Victor deck, and as a proxy, we can play some webcam as well. This has been very informative. You've got my creative juices going, but I should probably head to bed. It's getting quite late for me over here.
It's not late for me at all, and I feel terrible that I forgot we have a time zone difference.
No problem. Is there any place that people watching the video can find you? Anywhere to find your articles, videos, anything like that?
Sure. I am a writer. My words are escaping me, which is quite ironic. But I am a writer for the website called pixigonal.com. It's pixigonal.com. And we cover like everything in pop culture and video games and just everything. I'm also on Instagram. So there's that. And you can find me on there.
Makes perfect sense. I look forward to having you back. I'll let you get off to go deal with your dying PC. And for everyone watching, please like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you think about my theories on the cards and how accurate Camila's League of Legends lore was. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun going through the comments on that, and we will catch you all next time. Bye!